Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Damontae bringing you a banger. Don't forget to follow on my Twitch, please. This is where we have daily content. Hey, what's up everybody? This is the new video here. We have the Reinfield 900S sniper rifle. Now obviously in the game there is other types of like DMRs, and this is the one sniper rifle in the game, but with that being said, this build can be used with like the DMR setups. So just keep that in mind while looking at this build here. We're using the Bison secondary pistol, but obviously you've got a couple of different choices here that you can choose. What I would recommend is the 403, the 44, or the Bison. Those would be the ones that I recommend. As for the weapon attachments here, as for the sights, we're using the default scope because I actually enjoy the default scope. The ranged barrel because we want that damage distance. Next, we're going for the hardwood stock over the lightweight stock because the lightweight makes the hip fire spread less, and it also makes sprint to fire speed. So if you look at this one, it actually minuses the sprint to fire speed for the wood, but it also gives you better recoil and overall spread. So if we're hip firing the enemies, this gun is going to make it harder to hit a hip fire spread with the lightweight, while on the other way, the hardwood, the hip fire spread is not as bad. Next, I'm using the suppressor. Obviously, you know, it being suppressed does have some minuses here. Not exactly, you know, the only suppressor in choice here. It just depends if you want to spend the 50 coins rather than money on that suppressor. What I'd recommend though is just getting this suppressor over that one. But if you don't like suppressors, then you know, just kind of look through these other ones. As you see, both of these are virtually the same. You come down here and this one has much less recoil. So if you were to grab not a suppressor, maybe grab one of these muzzle brakes. Other than that, let's go ahead and start into the armor and everything else. Next, for the armor, we're using the medium ballistic lining. Obviously, because it has 3 armor, we're going to be working off 2 armor. Once we get down to 1 armor, then we'll use an armor out of the armor bag. And then we have an armor bag as our deployable. This, as we've referenced in the past, if you're bringing medical bags into the build, you don't really, you know what I mean, like you're only losing armor most of the time. So when you do lose life, as long as you have armor, you know, an armor bag or something, it doesn't matter, you're totally fine. The same can be said for ammo. You can pick up ammo from the enemies. The ammo in this game is not shared between teammates, it's actually individual games. So in my game, I can pick up everyone's ammo, and then in my partner's game, he can pick up everyone's ammo. So the ammo bags really aren't that big of an issue here. Next, the overkill weapon is obviously the grenade launcher. Technically, you can use the sniper rifle and like 2-shot a dozer, but I'm not really interested in it. Next, we have the tool, which is a mine. Obviously, you've got some other tools here that you can use, but the mine is pretty much a stun device. Next, we have a grenade, which is, you know, you get a couple of choices here. I prefer to use the grenades over the other stuff, but everything is optional here. Now let's jump into the skills for the build here. As for the skills, we're using the ammo specialist for 20% more ammo. Using a sniper rifle and not really moving around as much, this can come helpful to you. Next, I'm using plate up. As long as I have grit, my ammo drops will give me my armor regeneration. So in the act of taking damage and then immediately grabbing ammo could be the result of never taking damage. You know, that's pretty nice, right? Next, we have mower, which is every 35 bullets I gain a damage increase, which is next followed by ammo funnel and replenish, which is throwing ammo back into my mag when I get kills and without ever having to reload. Lastly, I'm grabbing sprint reloader because if I do need to reload, I don't want to be stationary basically. You want to be able to get into cover. Next, some of the more important skills in the build. We have tank, which gives me regeneration speed. Next, we have extra plates so that my armor bag can yield 6 armor plates. And then we have armor up. If you don't have this skill inside overkill, you're practically just trolling your teammates. Now, I will want to mention that in the most recent patch, they have referenced that armor up and the last man standing skill seem to be really powerful. They don't know if they're changing the skills or if they're going to be adding different things. whatever they're doing, just know that these two skills are pretty much the best skills in the game right now. And if they do switch them, it's going to completely switch the way things are played. Especially with the way that armor up is played, you can get 2 armor for 1. If they somehow switch this skill around, I don't really know what they'd switch into, but obviously, like, this skill is great. All they need to do is just add a life skill, or multiple life regen features, and then they need to add something that's more based around ammo, or making ammo bags more valuable to use. That's the only thing that they need to do. They don't need to nerf armor up or last man standing. They just need to make other skills that are equally as good. Next we go into sharpshooter, which we get a damage increase if we stand still and aim down the sights for 1.5 seconds. This is extremely useful for the sniper build. Next we're grabbing cutting shot, which is giving me armor penetration increased. Now most people know that this only really affects like secondary weapons, but there is a couple of primary weapons that this can also come in handy too. Next we're using speed aim since we have a scope and a sniper rifle. Speed aim to make us aim faster will certainly be more profitable. Next I'm having swift, which is making my base with the mask on 10% faster, and then we're also getting the escapist, which is giving us a rush increase, which is another movement speed increase. Next we're grabbing enforcer, which is giving us grit, one of the few skills that actually gives you grit in a consistent manner. This right here can be pretty rough with the sniper rifle, but you have plenty of time to do so. Next we have gunslinger, which if we switch our weapon without ADSing, we get a damage increase. So if we hip fire at the enemies, we get, big damage shields. Now the reason why we're bringing this is because if we do get into a close range engagement and we do need to pull out our secondary, we want it to be able to like 1 to 2 shot the enemies. So gunslinger is definitely a good one to be picking here. Next we have increase my swap speed. Knowing that we have a sniper rifle in the build and knowing that our secondary weapon is going to be the best for close range, that's what we're doing here. And then lastly we have strategist, which you can mark an additional target and it lasts 20% longer. That's not the key part. What the key part is misdirect. If you have rush, which is the speed increase, a cloaker or a taser that tries to disable you will instead receive a heavy stagger. So the idea here is that using the strategist to mark things will help you be able to mark a cloaker or a taser so that they don't actually get a chance to disable you. That's the idea here. Other than that, that's pretty much, all the skills that I have with the amount of levels that we have. If you were to get to 21 skills, so if you were to get, your other 2 points, something like disengage would be a good one. Last man standing would be a good one, so that'd be your 2 points there. But obviously if you wanted to divvy up your points in a little bit better, balanced is another way. You can, ignore staggers with rush. Another really good one is Stockholm Syndrome. Being a sniper, generally you may also be around civilians and things in this nature. So if that's the case, Stockholm Syndrome can really help you out. And then the same can be said for Master Trader, trading your teammates in a much quicker fashion. Other than that, I do appreciate it. Hopefully you guys do enjoy this video. If there's anything that you guys would change or not use basically in this build, then let me know in the comment section below. All I know is that when I play this build on things like Road Rage or I can't really think of the other maps right now, but I know like Road Rage and 99 boxes, like when I use this build on these maps, it generally performs pretty well. I don't really have an issue moving around the map. I can play in a singular position, but then also be free to roam. So hopefully you guys can also have the same results while playing this build. So please leave me a like, comment, and see you guys in the next video.